Yeah.
It was so good.
Good morning, guys. Today is Thursday, July 18th, and it's 10:16 a.m. and I think I'm gonna take you through a day of planning my gap year. So if you didn't know already, I am taking a gap year through UNC Chapel Hill's Global Gap Year Fellowship. So basically I've spent the past 2 weeks at Chapel Hill's campus sort of running through the logistics of what it's actually like to take a gap year, and also working through planning my gap year because it's completely self-designed. So I thought I would take you through sort of what a day in my life through this process looks like. So pro tip when booking flights, our organization has recommended using Skyscanner, and I've never used it before, but I'm able to like find really cheap flights. So currently I'm trying to find the cheapest way to get from where I live to Morocco, because that might be where I'm going. But yeah, it's very exciting. Okay, so I'm like an hour or so into my research, and I've decided that I kind of don't want to go to Morocco. I talked to Georgia.
Hi vlog.
And she went to Morocco for half of her gap year, and I guess like hearing her experience, I'm not sure if that's exactly the right placement for me. So I started looking around, and now I'm currently looking at placements in Croatia, and I'm fingers crossed that it works out. There's one that's focused on like creative technologies, which is exactly like what I'm passionate about. So I'm gonna submit an application for that and see where that leads. Here's Jake because he wants to be in the vlog.
So indecisive queen over here. But that's okay, because you know, we're all doing great things with our gap year.
Amen.
And Teresa just approved of my apartment booking, so Elle and I are going to Cuba, staying in this cute little apartment. The flights are all booked. We are ready to go. It's gonna be great.
So instead of doing his research right now, he's freaking looking for bandanas because tell them about your hair.
So I'm growing my hair out, and I really need like something to tie it back. And my research is like done, so I'm gonna just get a nice bandana out.
Heck yes. Okay, a little bit of an update. I'm currently applying for the program in Croatia, and we're actually about to take a little lunch break. The program that we're doing provided us with Cosmic Cantina, which is a local burrito place, so I'm really excited about that. So we're going to do what's called a lunch and learn, which is where they feed us, and then we also talk about a topic. So the topic for this lunch and learn is mental health abroad, which is obviously a very important issue, so I'm really interested to hear what the teacher has to say.
All right, how are we doing?
Hey.
Are we missing anyone?
Hey, you got our burritos. We're living lavish. Hey guys, so we just got through with lunch, and I thought I would just take a little bit of a break to walk around outside and sort of just give myself a chance to relax, just because like when you're sitting and working for hours on end, sometimes you have to give yourself a little break and a little reward for all your hard work. So I'm just gonna kind of chill and walk around outside for a bit. Howdy everyone. So basically I finished my little walk around campus. I got myself a latte, as you saw, and now I was just going to sit down and kind of talk a little bit more extensively on sort of the process of planning out a gap year. Obviously it is a pretty big part of your life to kind of plan, and it's kind of daunting to think that you're going to be planning a whole year of your life. So I just sort of wanted to run down what I've been doing so far to plan out this process. So basically I have a lot of help obviously from my organization, and basically what they did was give us an outline of a proposal which had everything from like your mission statement, why you want to take your gap year, to like budgeting tools and how to make sure your money goes the furthest it can while you're on your gap year. So the first thing I did was sort of go through and think about why I would want to be taking a gap year, why I signed up for this program in the first place, and I sort of word vomited those out into another document and sort of refined them. So that sort of gave me an idea about what sort of placements I wanted to be seeking and what sort of regions of the world I would like to go to. So I ended up planning my first placement in Beijing, China. Obviously, like if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been previously, and I have a pretty strong background in Chinese language, so it seemed like a pretty natural fit for me. Along with this, I also have connections in Beijing, so it was a little bit easier for me to seek out a placement in the city. So right now it's looking like I'm going to be in Beijing for the fall of this year. And even though I don't have everything exactly laid out yet, I'll likely be working with Beijing Language and Culture University, which is really exciting for me. But in order to get to this point, like where I have my first half mostly planned out, I had to do a lot of research into the organization I would be working with, what it's really like to live in Beijing. Obviously I visited, but it's not the same as like when you're actually living in a space. So I did a lot of research on everything from the climate to the political situation to like clothing and dress, and also the cost of food, stuff like that, like everything you have to sort of consider before embarking on a quest like across the world, right? So I actually was recommended a website, which I will like link right here or like put the name of and probably put in the description as well, that helps compare sort of like safety levels, cost of living, pollution, so many different things between pretty much any two cities in the world you could want. So I ended up comparing Asheville, North Carolina, which is the closest city to my hometown, to Beijing, and sort of was able to find cost comparisons as well as safety comparisons, and I included that in like my little document to sort of help me understand, I guess, what it's going to be like living there. Another thing that I found really helpful when planning out my first half of my gap year was I did a lot of extensive research into what meals typically cost, because obviously it's really important to have a budget going into something like this so you don't blow all of your money on your first placement. So I was able to find out sort of the average cost of every meal in China, and knowing myself, knowing my diet, what that would look like in China. And I was able to sort of do like a day-by-day calculation and then eventually find like how much it would cost for me to live there and feed myself for 3 months. And I try to stay on the overestimating kind of side of costs, just because it's better to be safe than sorry. And I'll probably include like a screenshot of what my little budget in the end kind of looked like. But that included the cost of my flight, the cost of my food and accommodation, my spending money, my insurance, my emergency funds, and then obviously the total cost in the end. So I was able to find a flight round trip for really cheap to go to Beijing, for about $600. What I recommend doing is something that people from my gap year organization sort of helped me with. I used a website called Skyscanner that made it very easy for me to find flights around the world for very cheap. Also, it's important to think about where you're leaving from. Maybe you have to drive a little bit further to get a cheaper flight, but it's better than dishing out $400 to fly out of your local airport. Especially for me, since I live in a rural area, it would cost exponentially more for me to fly out of an airport that's closer to me instead of like if I drove to a more urban area kind of far away and flew out of there. So that's what I'm going to be doing to sort of save me money on my trips. So I ended up setting aside $1,500 for food, and I'm hoping my accommodation will be taken care of. I don't know it yet, but I'm hoping my organization will put me up in one of the dorms on campus, which would be really wonderful. I set aside 500 USD for spending while I'm in China. My insurance, my travel insurance, is paid for by my organization, thank goodness. And I set aside $100 in emergency funds. So for my first placement, that leaves me with about $2,700 in total costs. So after going through that process and sort of doing everything I can for Beijing, even though obviously like I still have to wait to hear some specifics back from my organization, I started planning my second half of my placement. So basically for my organization, I have to have 6 months of service. My first 3 months are going to be spent in Beijing, and then my second 3 months were kind of up in the air. But after, I had originally, like at the beginning of the day, actually was really pretty intent on going to Morocco, just because they have a very strong art scene and I'm very interested in art. But after doing a little bit more research about the culture and what the realities of living in Morocco would look like, and talking to people who had previously gone to Morocco, I decided that this wasn't exactly like the place for me. So it's very important. That sort of goes to show you how important it is to research and talk to people who have been there before about like what the realities of that sort of situation would look like, because you want to know before you go ahead and jump into something like that. So basically after I did that, I sort of started looking elsewhere, trying to find out what sort of projects I would want to be doing rather than focusing on like location, which is sort of what I had been doing previously. And I was able to find a program that I'm currently working on applying for today that is in Croatia, that focuses on communication technologies, obviously something that I would be very passionate about. So I'm going to start researching into Croatian culture, the realities of what like living in Croatia would look like, and then start thinking about the budgeting of it all. Hey guys, so after working for literally like hours on end, we are finally done for the day. I got a lot done on my proposal, which is exciting. So now me and the gang are going to get dinner somewhere on Franklin Street, undecided where, but you'll see in the vlog later where we decide.
That was the greatest thing.
Here's Sarah. She's gonna be the next successful rapper.
Yeah, go ahead. Cam, start beatboxing.
Sadie, she got a burger, then she went and did a murder. Next thing you know, she's fucking around and someone caught her.
Okay, but it looks like it's
So we are currently getting shaved ice at Shaka Shave Ice right now, and it's so cute.
so cute, so cute.
Hey guys, so it's around 7 and I'm back at the dorms, and I think I'm just gonna end the vlog here. So stay tuned for more gap year vlogs. Obviously I'm still in the planning process, but very soon I'll be leaving off. So if you'd like to follow along in that process, definitely hit subscribe. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye.